Let's say technological.
Yes.
Let's look at strengths first. Collaboration in tech, innovation and startups.
Right.
Do we have it or not?
With UK, we had it from ages, not today.
Correct.
We had it from ages.
And now we don't know because of the venture capital or investment banks. But through these, it's still a financial hub, right? So a lot of the money invested via the Mauritius route or other routes, etc., Bahamas and so on, comes from the British financial system.
That Mauritius, because Mauritius was a tax haven.
That's right. That's right. The point is, therefore, it's the strength that we have been able to work with them.
Yeah, we have been able to.
It helps both sides. Therefore,
yes.
And so therefore, there is a conduit of money available, right? They still are strong in financial services, right? And our relationship with them, with the London financial houses, is far better than any other financial center, actually, right? But Dubai, etc., are becoming stronger, and so on. We have relationships there. And with such countries only, we are beginning to have FTAs, for example, UAE, right? And similarly, therefore, we expect that we'll have an FTA with them, keeping our protection issues, and slowly our own views about protection will go through a change. We'll have to go through a change. Right. Okay. Now, weaknesses, intellectual property protection. This is interesting. Actually, we have the laws to protect intellectual property, but it is projected that we don't look after the intellectual property, and therefore they hesitate.
No, now now the scenario is not that.
That's what I say.
Now the scenario is not that, because government is putting a lot of efforts. You see in our own education sector, where earlier it was only research paper you were getting incentivized for. Now it is patents, copyright, and a lot of faculties going for it. And if you will look at the data of Indian, that is world WIPO data, then it's almost, I would say, every month 1,000 copyrights are going from India only. Indian firms are.
Having said this, we then come back to the stages of development. Right. As long as we had a stage of development, for whatever reason, unfortunately, we were not doing this kind of stuff, though we had a lot of intellectuals, but they were going abroad, etc. That we used to resist and call these such things as restrictive laws.
Right.
Okay. But as our own stage has started becoming that, right, where we are contributors also, and then we are receivers. So you become receivers of copyright fee and you become payers of copyright fee. You become receivers of the technology fee and payer of the technology fee. And then the equation starts balancing. So we are going in that direction. Now the understanding is clear. You create intellectual property, you'll make money.
Yeah. That's why government is giving a lot of impetus to this. Kapila scheme, a lot of other schemes are there through which the organizations, the individuals are getting funds for filing the copyrights or patents.
So shaking hands with the Britishers is not a problem on this issue anymore.
Yeah.
It used to be.
It earlier India was not that, as you rightly mentioned, was not considering it as an important part of research. They were interested in research, but copyright or this patent was not considered as an important aspect, which now they have understood, so they have started putting money.
Okay, so in terms of threats, we talk here technological disruptions and cybersecurity threats. What do you have to say about that?
Technological disruptions, yes, when it comes from UK side, if they start dumping their old technologies in India, then that will become a threat to India. In terms of that,
they will not be able to. I think we are smart enough now.
I don't think that there are any kind of technological disruptions which India could make in UK or UK.
Vice versa.
Vice versa, I hardly find any area, because in IT sector, India is already performing better than them. When it comes to automobile, we are performing better than them. Whether it was Jaguar, India acquired Jaguar, which was their firm. So I don't find much areas where they can disrupt our technological.
Therefore, this threat is therefore minimal. So 1 to 5, I'll just call it 1 rather than towards 4 or 5.
4 or 5, yes.
Okay,
yes.
Fine. Now let's look at the environmental thing. It's a little controversial, but strengths are cooperation on climate change, renewable energy, and sustainability. So what do we have to say about that? This is strength or is it weakness?
This is a strength. This is a strength, as I mentioned earlier also, that when we because if they cooperate on climate change and then they start working together, then that threat of carbon tax gets minimized, that gets mitigated. But if they don't collaborate, then definitely they'll
So whether vis-a-vis or UK or with the European countries, generally we can call them developed countries, the issue is really the speed at which we do it. They are wanting a faster speed, which they are adopting for themselves. Now, whether they'll achieve or not, we get to see. Because you have EV vehicles, but then you go and produce electricity for that with coal or fossil fuels or something like that. It's the same thing then. So also for your advanced technology like AI, you need a humongous amount of energy, and then you
for
go
servers and all.
Huh?
For saving the data through servers and all, you require energy.
And so the other side, therefore you have to produce that energy additionally. Right? Even in UK, what these AI servers will need is equivalent to the energy UK consumes now, right? And on the other hand, they're shutting down coal-fired plants. But then how will it be produced? But this is a common problem where we have to do the thinking. Sustainable technology, sustainable marketing, and so on. Now, if I have to put in terms of the wavelengths, I think they're on a similar wavelength.
Yes.
So there should not be any problem of any laws, our laws, which cannot be implemented and so on. The only difference, I think, is speed of implementation in India because it's a very large system. And most of the electricity plants are coal-fired because we have our own coal, that's why they were put up. Weaknesses, differences in environmental policies and regulations, other side of the coin. So we've already discussed it.
We have discussed, I think this environmental issue we have discussed that overall we are on the same platform when it comes.
Opportunities in terms of joint initiatives on clean energy and sustainable development.
Yeah, that is an opportunity because if I look at it as per SDG goals also, and when it comes, whole world this time is working towards sustainability. Even the small nations are trying to project themselves as the most sustainable countries.
Because they want money from the
World Bank. Money from the World Bank. Like recently we had one seminar in our college from Siam University of Thailand. So they also are continuous, wanted to project their university as a sustainable university. They are trying, then they shared that in Thailand, every next organization nowadays is putting efforts in sustainable, and that's why this time the exchange.
Which organization and corporate is actually not talking about sustainability? Right?
Everybody.
Huh? So it's fashionable.
It's fashionable, it's a fad.
So why will we oppose it?
We are not opposing it.
Therefore, therefore we are on the similar wavelength.
That's an opportunity, na, that India UK join hands and work together.
Because newer technologies are required.
Yeah, right? Work together in terms of solar energy, in terms of...
Just one area if you pick up. Since coal-fired plants are going away in Europe, and the newer ones are not going to come, let's put it that way, then all these big companies like Siemens, General Electric, so on, who used to make coal-fired plants, coal-fired electric plants, will actually shut up those divisions. Shut off those divisions right now, next one. And everything will have to be there where the new plants today of the 21st century and 2025 will have to be more efficient.
Now here I'll disagree because they'll not shut down just because of the shortage of coal or just because they'll definitely find out some alternative. Because there is a huge investment when it comes to power plant.
Data is available. In the UK, only one plant is left which is coal-fired.
No, you are saying Siemens and GE
That's
will
the manufacturer of the machinery.
Okay, manufacturing of the machinery you are talking about. Okay.
Therefore, there are new opportunities.
Yes.
To have more efficient.
I thought they'll shut down the. That's what I saw.
I'm talking about machinery.
I take my point back.
Because it was an oligopolistic market, anyways. And this is an issue for India also. Now, what do we do with BHEL, which makes, again, electricity plants based on coal-fired, etc., or turbines which will have to be gas-fired then, and so on. Therefore, there is an impact on the industry, which is very substantial. Okay, now let's be. If we look at the
legal
legal. So strengths are the strong legal frameworks and
Yeah.
cooperation on judicial matters.
Because most of Indian, or I would say 80 to 90% of Indian judiciary or the rules, regulation, legal frameworks have been derived from British only.
What they call jurisprudence. Jurisprudence is the same.
Yes, yes.
So foundation is the same.
Same.
And in the newer laws about sustainability, climate, etc. Anyway, there is a lot of international exchange of views and so on and so forth, because they have to be more or less global laws. You can't say that, climate action law at one place is supposed to be different from the other.
So legal, I think, more or less strength, opportunities or threats. Broadly, the threat is one issue because of the legal complexities. Rest opportunities or strengths are more or less the same.
So weaknesses means differences in legal system and regulatory framework?
No, I can't say this. Or we can't say this. Because when on one side we are saying that we have derived our legal framework from Britishers only, and then the other side I say there is a difference in legal framework or regularities. It doesn't make sense.
We have talked about services. And then we talk about accounting services. Chartered accountants are there. We talk about CFAs. CFAs are there. We talk about lawyers. Lawyers are there. For quite some time, the developed countries have been knocking at our doors. So let our legal firms come in. And when we say they'll have to do BLLB here, and then they say, kya baat kar? Then we say, our boys should be able to work there. No, their legal bar doesn't allow it, right? The Chartered Accountant Association doesn't allow it. They have a CPA, so you come and do CPA. So one of the things has been professional firms have been working now for quite some time. Couple of decades, and I had participated in certain meetings to shake hands with the professional organizations of countries like UK, again because it's closest, and let them do something, makeup courses, like few courses, half a year once. And therefore you become quasi-equivalent to that. And that also is a diploma for international practice. Now we have opened up the international firms' gates in India. Who's going to serve there? Mostly Indians, right? At higher fees, maybe higher efficiency. It brings that higher efficiency. It brings those better financial frameworks. So yes, it's a threat. They will take away the fees or juicy cases fees, but you will be competing with more competent professionals. This is the advantage, the other side of it. And I'm sure with UK we can work out the easiest possible.
Right. Sorry.
So tell me, what are the opportunities?
Opportunities can be enhanced cooperation between India and UK to develop the regulatory framework, and as you mentioned, CFA, CPA differences there. So there could be some common laws.
So as part of the agreements, we should have that there should be mechanism for equating and allowing the professionals of each of the country to work.
Yes, that would be the real, I would say, that would in real term be an FTA. When then, even our labour could move from.
And then what the British say, because most of the legal services are in London, financial, that if we allow Indians to do it, nobody
will ask. But let's not mention that they have their own positive parts or their own strengths.
Now, legal complexities and regulatory challenges.
And that's what I have already mentioned. That
in the era of web, it's very easy to see what's happening there. I watch the parliamentary debate of UK just like I would watch the parliamentary debate of India, and they're much more enjoyable actually, right? And there are seminars. I can go to London School of Economics if something interesting is happening. So can others. In other words, like any other professional, they can be up with it in terms of their professional seminars taking place in anywhere. So this is a positive opportunity where the Indians are a little more comfortable. And so, anything else you want to
add? That's it.
Okay, so let me just say that this SWOT analysis in the PESTEL framework is actually an innovation, because these things are two separate things, PESTEL and SWOT, like corporate. And as I said, if you just put numbers on it, then we can give an overall number to the country and come to the conclusion in terms of strategy of doing business with that firm, right?
Right.
With that country,
Country.
UK or USA or it is Bahamas or it is Singapore and so on and so forth. And it's worthwhile further developing this framework.
Yeah, but I would add to it, it is something like earlier these two were different, but if you look at Porter's five forces model, it is something a mix of these two.
Also.
It's a mix of these
Secondly,
two.
here we are not talking about numbers. There are numbers behind these. Behind these statements, there are numbers, right? But in a conversation like this and to communicate some idea, one doesn't clutter it with so many billions of dollars and so much this, so much this, so much this. That's a separate exercise always, which backs it up. Okay, then
So
thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.